Not in the record. Okay.
Okay, I need to get my computer into setup to do this. So just give me, I need a minute to because I simply forgot to put this up.
Can you share the screen, Carl, or should I?
I will. Just a minute, I will.
Just checking whether I need to enable you or not. Probably not.
Share screen. Host disabled, participant share screen. Did you enable me to do it?
Let me check.
I think I'm being disabled from sharing the screen, Michele.
I'm checking, Carl. I'm checking now.
Yep.
You should be enabled. I cannot see any.
I'm getting a screen note saying host disabled participant screening.
Okay, okay. Let me check how to do it. Try again now, please.
I have, and I've got it now.
Okay. Coming. Okay, we see your Excel file. Oh, okay, ready.
Okay, I'm just going to make it big.
Very good.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm having a very major problem in advancing my screen. My computer. Oh, this is not good.
Okay, now it's working now.
Okay, it's working now. Okay. All right. Some of these slides you've read, but I want to comment on them. The generic problem, the real problem that we have is that there are billions of possible plans for the future of a city like Cagliari. Billions, billions. And we're only now beginning to think about it long term. So how do we organize and conduct the very beginning, the real very beginning, and strategic stages of planning for longer term change in a large, multi-system, multi-client, relatively unpredictable and contentious, contentious meaning people do not agree, context, and one which should not become a zero-sum game. A zero-sum game is when there is one winner and everybody else loses. And this is very frequently the situation for important and complicated projects and studies. And why negotiation? And why geodesign and why negotiation? And I and many others consider negotiation to be a design method. The reason is because when fundamental conditions are changing, and I and many others believe that fundamental conditions for the world basically are changing, and big data-based models predict future problems, and big data-based models are predicting future problems, the end game of our work still requires a purposely designed spatial temporal strategy for future action. And this is necessarily a political process. In other words, design is a political process when you're working on large, contentious, long-term problems. It's not a private client with a site, a program, and a vision. Geodesign changes geography by design. And if you can see the top of my screen, it works best in the middle. Geodesign applies systems thinking to the creation of proposals for change in their impact and their impact simulations, informed by their geographic context and supported by digital technology. Geodesign is an invented word, not by me, and a very useful term to describe a collaborative activity. It is necessarily collaborative. That is not the exclusive territory of any design profession, geographic science, or information technology. It is not the territory only of landscape architects, or only of GIS, or only of economists. Each participant must know and be able to contribute something that the others cannot or do not. Yet during the process, geodesign is a process. No one need lose his or her professional, scientific, or personal identity. In other words, I don't believe that anybody is a geodesigner. You may be an architect, a landscape architect, a banker, a lawyer, doesn't matter. And I don't believe we are making a geodesign. We're making a design or a plan or whatever you want to call it. But we're acting as whatever we are. Geodesign is serious. It's most useful at the beginning of thinking about and designing on the strategy of what to do. It does not normally produce a precise final product. It works in diagrams. Rather, the product says it could or it should be something like this, not precisely like this, but something like this. It's a strategy. Geodesign is complicated. There are multiple systems and scopes and uncertainties. The methods should fit the context. Its technical support must be flexible, iterative, transparent, and rapid, and it is. Geodesign is dynamic. Geodesign changes are sets of system-based policies and projects. In other words, we have systems. Each has policies and projects, and the design consists of specifying something about what these are. Geodesign must rapidly move from infinite possible designs toward a socially, environmentally, and economically feasible set of decisions. Geodesign is collaborative. The natural language of geodesign must be easily understood by all. The geodesign endgame must support informed negotiation. The design will emerge. On the left, the sciences do very well. They tend to look at the supply of what exists, and they tend to want to protect it. On the far right, the design professions do very well. They take a client and they want to change things. The problem occurs in the middle, where you have to integrate the sciences, the design professions, the information technologies, and the people, and they don't agree. And you have to find a way to cause these people to collaborate and to negotiate with each other and to speak the same language. And they don't necessarily speak the same language. There are three ways that this is generally done in the world. On the left, you have a group of clients. It could be a family, it could be a government, and each of them has a different set of objectives and interests, the colors. And when you look at the systems, they put different priorities on them, but some dominate. And somehow or other, these people agree that one team of people, and by the way, my work is color-coded, my diagrams. If it's blue, it's a scientist. If it's green, it's information. People of the place are purple, and design professions like landscape architects are in yellow-orange. So a group of people gets together, and they have a lot of meetings, 50 meetings, maybe, and they make a design. And the design takes into account some, but not all, of the interests of the client. and they present it to the client group, to the government, let's say. And the government says yes or no. But they also have their own ideas of other designs, but they've only been presented one. So they may say no and do it again, or throw the people away and get new design teams. So it's not a very good way of working on a large project. An alternative is to have a competition. A competition could be inside a company, inside a government, or it could be different consulting groups, each taking a set of interests and each making a design with a team, but doing it privately. Each team has a wall between the other teams, and all of the designs are presented to the client group. And the client group very frequently will pick one of them for a variety of reasons, but ask that other ideas from other designs that they've seen be integrated in a new design. And if that happens, it's really the client group which is making the fundamental decision of the design. This is a very common method, but it doesn't work when only one design is chosen. And so we tend to make a set of different ways of working in geodesign, more often than not. We would invite the people who are the clients to be part of the process of design. That's one change. The second change is that instead of trying to convince people that they will all agree in the beginning, we would say, don't agree. We will make a separate design for each of the interests, each with a separate design. But we will do it in one group of mixed people, and we will not keep the design, the pieces private. We will share absolutely everything. Any design idea that anybody makes is public property, not private property. And there will come a time when we actually look at each other's designs before it's done, and we will take people's ideas that are better than our ideas into our design. And then we will let the people who created this process negotiate in an organized way so that they're happy by making the design themselves for the final version, while we advise them. And this is the way we're going to work in the workshop. No idea is private, and we will negotiate the final design. The real problem that this is aimed at is the future of the world, because it's complicated. The words on the right are in scale with the first 50 projects made by the International Geodesign Collaboration. These are the words written in scale from the book that we wrote last year. We now, in the collaboration, have 202 university teams in 58 countries and 130 completed studies. We have nobody in Pakistan. We have nobody in Algeria and Libya. We have nobody in Mali. We have nobody in Peru. We have only one team in Russia. No, we have two teams in Russia. All of the teams study 10 systems, 2 of which are decided locally in these colors. In other words, we can read each other's maps. We all work on square sites at different scales. We all work on 3-year and 3 scenarios related to innovation. We all judge our designs by the United Nations sustainability goals. We all select innovations which are on the internet. There are 156 innovations which might happen between now and 2035 and might happen between 2050. They include smart management systems for urban areas, renewable energy, transportation in cars that become trains. These are all public, as you know, and I hope you looked at. Michele is going to give us the ones that he has, with his colleagues, selected for Italy. The book is available in many languages. It's based on 6 questions, which are asked 3 times at least. Why, when we decide what the problem is, how, when we decide how to do the methodology, and what, where, and when we actually conduct a study. The reason that you need an organized methodology is that when you make a mistake, you know where you are. And when you give a task to somebody, you know what the problem, you know what the product of that task is and what the product needed by the next person is. In a collaboration, it's really important to be able to give your work to somebody else to continue, where they know what's going on. The fact that it's a collaboration means you never know when a good idea comes, and you never know from whom it comes. It becomes a good idea if it survives. The process of the workflow, I need to move some things on my computer. This is a workflow which I'm now going to go through. Come on, my computer is not moving forward. Michele, is there any limit on the speed?
Hallo?
Oh, yeah.
My
Guten
computer,
Tag, mit wem möchten Sie denn gern sprechen? Ja, einen Augenblick.
my computer is frozen.
Please try to unshare and share again.
Okay, just a minute. I will. Stop share,
Okay.
share again, screen share. Where am I here? There's the thing. Share. Is it on again?
It's coming. Okay.
Okay. So I'm starting with the people in the left edge. No, my computer is freezing. That's very bad.
You can click on the slides, maybe it goes.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that advice. I'm going to go back. Okay, let's go through the workshop. We start on the left. We have 6 groups. Each of the groups has a difference, if you look at the graph, has a different weight for the importance and sequence for the importance of the 10 systems. They don't agree with each other. So for one of these teams, they say, yes, let's move ahead. So we're going to ask each of the teams when we begin the workshop, when you're working in the real problem, to decide which are the important systems and which are the less important systems. And in fact, we've already given you clues. The entire software can be coordinated so that the R1, this first column, is your most important system, your second most important, your third most important, to the end, in this case, the number is 10. But you could have 5 systems, you can have 20 systems, but we are only going to use 10. So then you have to, after you figured out what the problem and method is, you have to build a database which gets shared. You have to build a process model. You have to understand how the process that you're dealing with not only works, but how it will potentially work 20 years from now. How it will be working. Then you have to evaluate the site. Now, Michele has done this already. Then you need to make the people who have made the analysis, have to make diagrams of policies and projects related to what their understanding of the future and present are. And then anybody else involved can add diagrams. In other words, anybody in the process can make a diagram of a policy or a project at any time in the process, even at the very end. If it's a better idea, it will be used. If it's not a better idea, it won't be used. The making of a design is selecting the diagrams that best fit the needs of the circumstance. In other words, some diagrams get used and some do not. And the more that people select a diagram, the more likely it is it's going to be in the final design. If nobody selects a diagram, there's no way that it's going to be in the final design. Making a diagram should be easy. Keeping a diagram in is not so easy. At any given time, a design or a partial design can be assessed for its impact in GeoDesign Hub or exported to a larger model. A design, when finished, can be labeled as a version or a time and be assessed and update the evaluation models because the data have now changed. In other words, if we make a design for half of the problem, we can say, how does this design change the evaluation model because it's changed the data for the next stage? At any given time, we can change the data, the process, the evaluation, the design. And at any time, we can change scale. The methodology process is the same, but the models themselves change when you change scale. At some point, the team, especially the client team, thinks, yes, we may be finished. Do we have no for feedback, maybe to change scale, or yes to present it? And at that point, we may negotiate among all 6 designs and bring that process very much to the people who had commissioned the work or wanted or needed the work in the first place. And you must realize that a design is not forever. At any given time, any time in the future, the situation may change and you may have to do the whole process again. But it's an updating process. In other words, this is a live process. It doesn't stop when you finish a design. It's support for the future as well. GeoDesign Hub is a cloud-based, free, easy-to-use system. It's designed by Rishi Balal. Rishi is a company. He's a private company. He, by the way, is a one-person company. He does not sell the software. He rents the software. But he rents it free to the people who are teams, academic teams that are in the collaboration. It does everything that I've talked about inside the software, but it relies on human beings to make the decisions and provide the ideas. Rishi normally runs his workshops, he does this professionally, in 3 sessions over about a week. And many people do it over a semester, making their students do it the whole, doing everything in it. And I generally do it in 2 days, sometimes 1 day. I have done it with Michele in 6 hours before. We're not going to do it thoroughly. Believe me, we're not going to do it thoroughly. The software calculates costs, impacts. It has a 3D visualization. It does a lot of things. We're only going to do some of them. We have set up the problem from the upper left. We're dealing with 10 systems. We're dealing with colliery, which Michele will talk about. The amount of change that the design involves between now and 2050 is in the middle on top. This diagram is how much change is coming to the map on the left of it. On the lower left, the models for impact are really simple. Did you put something that destroyed the characteristics that made it attractive for that system? We do have cost data in the analysis. We could calculate the cost of everybody's design. The evaluation maps are in 5 levels, and they're all in the same color, which makes it easy to understand. We do not want detail. We do not want detail. The 5 levels are red. Red means that it's working very well. Leave it alone. Don't change it. Orange, yellow means this is not a very good place for this system. Light green means this place is okay for the system, but it's not serviced well. It's capable of being used, but it needs utilities and other things, access maybe. Middle green means it's good, it has services. Dark green means it's good, it has services, and there is a market. People already do want this place. So if you have a choice, don't go on red, avoid yellow, go for green dark, then green middle, then green light. That's a very simple language, but it's based on knowing the area. And now let's introduce ourselves to colliery. Michele, it's yours.
Okay.
I'm going to stop sharing.
Yes, please. Can you see my screen? Full screen?
Yes.
Okay. So here you see some picture of the area, just to give you a glance of the landscape. Starting top left, you have a historic center of Cagliari. The city is very old, since Roman time, and so we have a medieval historic center, and cultural, historical tradition are very strong in the area. We have wonderful coast. Sardinia is well known for his beaches, and we have a lot of tourism related to so-called Soli Playa tourism related to the coast. We have a big area in this case study for agriculture, especially to the north, but not only. And also the area is one of the major pole in Italy for ICT industry. We had the first internet service provider back 20 years ago, around 20 years ago in Italy. And this created a good environment for the further development of ICT industry.
ICT is not in, ICT means computer-oriented industries.
Yeah, information communication technology. And you see the study area. This is the metropolitan area of Cagliari, city of Cagliari, was established back in 2016. And you can see the Cagliari settlement in brown at the center of the area. This is surrounded by wetlands to the west and to the east. We have mountain to the far east and far about 1,000 meters on the sea level, quite steep mountain, and basically natural areas. And in the plain area, in the coast and to the north, we have mostly agriculture with smaller towns. Overall, we have 17 municipalities in the area. And by the way, last month we did this, we applied this methodology exactly with 17 municipalities. So in a real project. We have also in violet, you can see some industrial areas in the southeast near the wetlands to the west, and some others scattered around. We define 10 systems for this study: water or blue infrastructure, agriculture, nature or green infrastructure, energy, transport, industry and commerce, institutional, low density housing, high density mixed housing, mixed use, and cultural heritage. We have a lot of resources in the area. And for each of the system, we set targets in terms of surface to be transformed with regard to each of the system. And these values are set up in GeoDesign Hub.
Can I interrupt on that for a moment? Go back
Yes,
one slide, please,
yeah.
Ellie. The thing about the agriculture requirement is that it's a very beautiful local level agriculture, but because of the climate change that's coming in the next generations, they need to invest in industrial climate controlled agriculture, in greenhouse-based agriculture, a lot of it. So it becomes, away from agriculture, it becomes an industrial policy. So there has to be a lot of industrial level agriculture in this area. The second comment that I want to make is about the water itself. You have to protect water and water supply. It's not that you're changing the water, it's that you have to basically manage the water. The third comment has to do with transportation. There is a real need for major improvement from the northeast to the southwest, around or through Cagliari. It's a big issue. And finally, SMART. Michele, explain what SMART is in the institutions.
Basically, is the creation of innovation hubs. We have all the university departments and labs concentrated in the city center of Cagliari and just in the border. And there is a big research center in the southwest. And we want to improve the situation and possibly connect them. And considering also that you have the international airport on the wetlands here, somehow middle of the way. So we want to connect everything. And there is also an area here that is also possibly good to develop smart innovation hub.
It's basically a community for research and development. It might mix housing and industry, basically. It's a thing. It's a big center. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Let's continue.
No problem.
Sorry.
And also I highlight also the big harbor here.
Yeah.
And the big harbor, there is the old harbor close to the city center, and the bigger harbor here is mostly was built in the 70s, but was never used. So there is a lot of space here to use the land for uses related to the presence of the harbor. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for, you will be working in teams. Each of you is in a team, and each team has different priorities. So let's go through quickly to all the objective of the teams. We have two global teams. Global teams means that they have interest in the whole area, in the whole metropolitan area. The developers and the green. And of course, as we know, the developers and the green usually have conflicting objectives. And then we have 4 local teams. 4 local teams, the Southwest teams, the Northwest teams, the Cagliari Center teams, and the Eastern team. The developer basically want to improve the economy. They want to build new transport infrastructure, housing, industry, this smart innovation hub, but also they want to promote tourism and controlled environment agriculture, this modern industrialized agriculture. The green, on the opposite, basically are interested in protecting natural resources and cultural heritage. They want tourism, but they want more sustainable tourist development and possibly a little bit of urban development. They want to improve also blue infrastructure, the water, and the green infrastructure, mostly. The local team Cagliari Center, CA, basically want to maintain, as a main aim, want to maintain the role of Cagliari. Cagliari is the capital city of all the region and has the highest population, the highest number of services, retails, etc. So it's very central, and they want to maintain this centrality in terms of commercial development and institutional development, and also cultural development. The eastern part, as you can see, is partly in the mountain, mostly natural areas. Near the coast, you have it has been urbanized without any planning. So you have a lot of illegal settlement here that need to be requalified. And this area is quite rich in archaeology, and also is very suitable for tourism, especially in the coast, but not limited to, also in the mountain. And they want to improve accessibility of this area. There is quite a big population living here, and they want better accessibility to the center of Cagliari. And also they have some prime soil land between the settlement and the mountain, including vineyards, olive tree, almond tree, so very profitable agricultural activity, and they want to improve the situation here. In the northwest, there is the major industrial settlement in the study area, but they also have a lot of agriculture, and they touch the wetlands and also the mountains. So they want to further improve the situation in terms of economic development related to industry and agriculture. They want a little bit of services because the population is growing in this area, is attracting actually inhabitants from the center of Cagliari. And so they want also better accessibility to services. They want to solve here the cost on the wetlands. Actually, they want to improve the situation of green and blue infrastructure. And eventually on the southwest, this is also a very interesting area. It's surrounded by the sea and by the mountain, but it also has very good prime soils. It's very touristy, especially the southern edge. So there's a tiny lines of tourist settlement on the coast. This is a major tourist settlement in the study area. It can host 20,000 people in summer between hotels and second houses. They also have a research center, regional research center. So it's also very interesting because it's an area that is let's say they have a little bit of everything. They just need to be more accessible to the center. It's only 40 kilometers from Cagliari to go there, but it takes a long of time. There is a new road now that is under construction, but still they would like, also here the population is growing, they would like to be more connected maybe with a metro line. And also they have there is a big archaeological site here. They have a Roman archaeological town. So these basically are the main feature. And basically we look at the IGC technology innovation, system innovation, and we selected, you have in the PowerPoint a number of innovation that are actually suitable. We think they are suitable to be applied in the study area. And in the workshop we had with the municipality 1 month ago, basically we didn't refer to the IGC technology system innovation, but the municipality themselves, based on their local knowledge, actually they apply many of those. So this is quite interesting, say, check in our research and planning activity. Okay, in the first part of the workshop, each of you will be creating diagrams representing project and policy. And you will do that reasoning by system by system. You know the 10 system now. And for each system, as Carl introduced earlier, we created an evaluation map suggesting whether to make changes to locate projects or policy or not. Okay. And in the water infrastructure, basically, you see in the darker green the areas which need more attention in terms of protection of hydrological risk or creation of blue infrastructure, improvement of blue infrastructure. In the agriculture evaluation map, basically you see in green, darker green, where the prime soils are, so most suitable land for agriculture and more profitable agriculture. In yellow, basically, the artificial land uses and the mountain, where the slope is too high to develop agriculture. In the green infrastructure evaluation map, you see that in the mountain, east and west, you have basically a natural environment which need to be protected. And also you see the wetlands around Cagliari. And so you have these four basically major natural areas that should be connected. They are quite fragmented by artificial land use in the last decade. So now we think it's good to reconnect them. Energy infrastructure, you see in red the current facilities. And you see in dark green the area where possibly you can think about developing further, especially in terms of renewable energy infrastructure, like in the built area, basically solar roof, and in the agricultural areas, more photovoltaic plant. The evaluation map does not include the sea, but also you can consider in this system to forest sea, maybe tidal wave energy plant, and the choice to be made is whether to do it. Some part of the cost is precious in terms of landscape and also in terms of cultural heritage. Some other part of the cost are less interesting, especially near the port. There's already compromised in a way. So this is probably the best area to think about this kind of project. Transportation, you can see in this evaluation map, basically the existing extra-urban network. The roads in red are those who have a level of services that is not satisfactory, while, that is satisfactory, so that you don't need to act in the red lines. But in green, you see whether the level of services of the road infrastructure is not satisfactory. So this route need to be improved. Industry and commerce, you see that in red the major poles near the wetlands in the southwest, in the just outside Cagliari, and smaller other areas. In green, there is in dark green here near the existing industrial area, you have other land that basically is not used at the moment, and this can be used, and some little other little portion of land scattered a little bit all around. Consider that there are 17 towns in this study area, so industrial development can be actually, you can think about concentrated or more balanced, scattered industrial development. Institution, you see in red where the existing infrastructure are around Cagliari, mostly concentrated around Cagliari, and in the southwest in the municipality of Pula. The airport is here in the wetlands, so basically we want to enlarge and connect these areas. Also here near the harbor in Cagliari. Lower density housing, excluding the part that are already high density, already developed and high density, excluding the natural areas that are protected, you see basically in green where further lower density housing can be planned. And what this map show basically is that traditionally in Italy, the municipality are in charge to identifying new areas for lower density housing. And this is a very important in a municipal plan making, because it's one of the main driver of development locally. But look, when all the municipality join in the metropolitan areas, basically, if we look at the map, at this map, this evaluation map, you see that not all municipalities have space for lower density housing. So this is a quite conflictual issue when you work at the level of metropolitan city. Higher density housing in red, where you have already high density urbanized areas, and in green areas suitable for further densification. History and culture, basically in dark green, you see the density of archaeological sites. Southwest, a lot. East, on the coast, a lot. In the Cagliari city center. As I said, Cagliari is a very old town and there are a lot of remains all around the area. So also this is a very precious resource for the area that should be basically archaeological sites oftentimes are not managed, not very accessible. So we want to make them accessible also to support sustainable tourism.
Can I add something to that one? Go back one for a minute, Michele, go back one.
Yeah.
Cagliari has a very, very old and very active village culture heritage. These rural villages in the Northwest all have their own very different traditions, and they are a major potential tourism development zone. Figuring out a way that you could combine agriculture, food, historical culture, village agriculture, rural life, those red dots and the areas around them are very valuable. The biggest national festival is the festival from the villages.
Thank you, Carl. So basically, having this evaluation map as a base, developing these evaluation maps, it is actually the most time-consuming part of the preparation of a study. Now we have the maps ready, and you will be able to use in GeoDesign Hub those maps system by system to create your own diagrams. And then altogether we will create sort of matrix of shared diagrams that everybody will be can be used in the following part. And I think I'm done, Carl.
Yeah. Okay.
I will give
So I'm going to share my screen now.
Yeah.
Actually, Michele, I'm having a little bit of difficulty.
Would you like me to share the screen? And
No. I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay.
Okay, it's coming.
No, that's not. That's wrong. Hold on. Oh, come on. Share screen. Share. Can you see that screen again?
It's coming. Okay.
Okay. Now, Michele, in his introduction, made it clear that each team, two of the teams have responsibility for the metropolitan area. Four of the teams have a responsibility for part of the metropolitan area. Every team has to solve the problem of the entire program. Every team, in the end, has to solve the problem of the entire program. What happened just then? When we stop in a few minutes, Michele is going to take you to the sandbox. But I want to discuss this before then. You have a group of people. There are either 5 or 6 of you, more or less, on each team. And you're going to have to discuss, with the coordinator leading the discussion in a reasonably fast amount of time, the strategy that you want to use to attack the problem. The problem is very complicated. It's very complicated. But there are different strategies of synthesis. How do you begin? One of them is first look at the systems and your brief from Michele. Decide what the most important ones are and make sure that you solve the problem for your geography of what you want for the most important things and resolve the most important systems before you resolve the less important systems. That's the first strategy. The second one is this. First, decide what not to do. By looking at the evaluation models for your geography, put them together in different groups. Look at the ones that you don't want to build in. Look at the ones that you do want to build in. And try to get a sense of the evaluation models before you even think about changing things. Decide where the changes can go and where they shouldn't go. You can do that by overlaying the evaluation models very quickly. You'll see this in a moment. The third strategy, look at the requirements, decide if they can be in, whether they should be in one place or distributed, and make sure that the large things that you're doing are done early. Because if you need large land areas and you don't do it early, you'll not have the opportunity later. For example, where is the industrial agriculture going to be? Or how are you going to connect the green infrastructure places? If you don't get that land early, you'll not get it at the end. The fourth strategy, the rarity argument, the rarity strategy. If there are only 1 or 2 or 3 places where you can put an important thing, do it. Because if you don't do it in one of those 2 or 3 important places, you won't have a good site left to do it after other people get it for their other land uses. The next strategy is the removal strategy. The thing about the diagrams is that you can put them all into a design very quickly. And then look at what you should remove from the design in order to meet your objectives. In other words, don't build the design, remove from all of the possibilities to make your design. The next one. The next one is focus your team on the things that are important. Then wait till you see what the other teams do, because they're doing what they think is important. And then take the best ideas from the other teams to fill in the parts that you haven't done. And the final one, which is the landscape architect strategy. Make a wonderful landscape. Don't do anything else. And then be destroyed by what other people do to your landscape. It's a very risky strategy. In other words, you may think that the landscape comes first. They may think it comes last. But if you don't solve their problem as well as your problem, they may solve their problem in the final design at the expense of your problem. That's why every team has to solve the whole problem. And the real issue is, what do we do first or early? And what do we fight for in a negotiation? And that's where we want to be 2 or 3 hours from now. So this schedule is important, and we're on schedule. It's now 1 hour, almost 1 hour. And in what we're going to do now is a social rule. And this is really quite important. This is a collaboration, and none of you know each other socially. None of you are friends. None of you are classmates. None of you work for the same company. You don't know each other. So these are social rules. If you don't understand, ask a question. You can always ask me or Michele a question in chat or live. It's very important. If you say you'll do it, do it. If you can't do it, ask for help. If asked for help, give it. No idea is a bad idea. Don't argue about ideas. If you have an idea, make a diagram. No idea is a bad idea. But not all ideas are equally good. And just because you made it doesn't make it good. All ideas are public property. Every diagram is on everybody's computer. An idea becomes a good idea when it is adopted by others, not when it becomes given by you. It becomes a good idea when other people think it's a good idea. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is worth more than 5 minutes of discussion. If you haven't decided in 5 minutes, the coordinator of the team should take a vote from the people on the team, and the vote carries forward. We're not seeking perfection. We're seeking to be finished. A good design is a finished design. I tell that to my thesis students, my doctoral students. A good doctoral student thesis is a finished doctoral student thesis. It's our design. I did this part. So the teams are known. I've made one change, and that's Maximilian Schob is in team 1 now. And what we're going to be doing is growing a design, comparing different designs, negotiating different designs in a live process, and ending up with a final design. And we're going to see that design at 6 hours from now. Michele, I'm going to stop screen sharing now. And you take.
Can you see my box now?
Denny has sent a quick question. is the assumption that these evaluations should not be challenged? The answer is yes. And the reason is we don't have the time to have made them in the first place in this workshop, which we could have done. Because we want to emphasize the synthesis strategies in this workshop, which is what we told everybody. But it's very clear that the evaluation maps themselves, you can argue about, and you certainly can make them more detailed, but I wouldn't want them more detailed than in these 5 levels. But spatially, they could be challenged. Statistically, they could be challenged, but these are based on the judgment of a lot of people over about a 4-year period that Michele has been working with the city people in Cagliari and his colleagues at the university. And I've been involved in it to some extent. So don't challenge them, just accept them for what they are, knowing that on your project, you're going to be responsible for making them yourself with your colleagues. Michele, let's just get everybody into the sandbox.
Yeah, I would add regarding the evaluation maps that ones have to make experience and become a little bit expert in 2 things: how to make it and how to use it, both. I use it several times, and at the beginning I was a little bit concerned because I was proposing my evaluation maps or my team evaluation maps to the local people. And of course, my knowledge is different from the local knowledge. But they help. Anyway, they help, and most of the time they are reliable also, and the result of the design from the local people is consistent with the evaluation maps, whether they use it or not intentionally. Okay, so you should see now my sandbox, right?
Everybody should be in it.
Okay, so basically when you copy the URL in your GeoDesign Hub account, you will see the project, in this case the sandbox, listed in your account. You go in. I have you may notice that I have an administration panel. You have not this. This is what, just because I'm the administrator of the project, and I can go here to set up all the previous work to get ready. You have GeoDesign, right? And basically, GeoDesign Hub is a web page full of tools inside, interactive tools inside. You start from the top, and along the workflow you go down. Basically, this is the main idea, and you have also bookmark here on the right to help you to move. And basically, let me just correct. Okay, this is better. 100%. You see here you have 10 evaluation map, one for each system: water, agriculture, green infrastructure, transport, low density housing, culture, energy, industry and commerce, mixed housing, and institutional. Underneath, below, here you are reasoning by columns. Each system goes with columns, and in each columns you can add diagrams. Diagrams can be a project or a policy. Let's try to add a project diagram in the agricultural system first. Now we are just learning how to use the interface. It's simple, but it's better that every one of you try to follow me, just to make practice with the mouse and the interaction. It's quite simple, but it's better to try here in the sandbox before going to the main project, where we don't want to do any error if possible. So I choose a project. The difference between project and policy is that project is some physical transformation, usually not very big in terms of area. A policy is something that will influence the development of that area, but originally is not necessarily physical. Maybe a funding policy in a big area, okay? And when you draw a project, is a small area, is easy to locate in a way. When you draw a policy, please don't use policy for the whole study area. If you have in mind a policy that apply to the whole study area, just don't use it in GeoDesign Hub, because that could cover all the other diagrams, and it's not really useful. So let's try to inserting and designing a project, single project diagram. You click on project and you add a name, new glass house 4.0, right? This is what we want to do. Control environment agriculture, for example, in the agricultural system. This is the private.
Michele, that's got, if that's what your new project is, it has to be an industrial policy.
All right. Okay, in this case, I will new agrotourism.
Good, yeah.
New agrotourism. This is a private. The name should be short, but should convey the meaning of the project to all the others. So it's not my project, but something that everybody can understand, right? And short also. So I can select the type of funding for this project. In this case, it's private. And I can choose whether it is a line or a polygon. Line is usually used for transport infrastructure or linear infrastructure, while polygon for the other type of project. So I choose polygon here. If I know, I can select the timeline, time of start and time of end of construction of the project. In this case, I will skip this. But what is more important, if you go to optional information here, I can insert the cost of the project. In this case, I will choose 300,000 euro, and this is total cost of the project for a new agritourism. If I have the data, I could choose for some project the cost per hectare, but usually the total cost is easier to forecast. Also because the size of the diagram is not necessarily very accurate. So I inserted all the metadata, name, type of project, cost, and then I'm ready to add the diagram. At this point, I have a pop-up window with the job browser where I can go and switch on the evaluation maps. In this case, I'm looking for agriculture. I want to locate an agrotourism. So the basic rule, in a simplistic way, we are just starting, I will look for a dark green area. And I want this agritourism near the mountain, near the natural area, so I will locate either here or here or here. Let's go in this case down here, near in the southwest. I'm ready to build my diagram. I go to Edit Map, add a feature, and then I'm ready to digitize with my mouse. Tack, 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 and double click to complete the feature. When I double click, the diagram is ready to be recorded, and you can find also the area of the diagram and the perimeter. At this point, you save the diagram. Okay, as simple as that. And you can add notes if you like. You can rename later, now or later. At a later stage, the name of your diagram, if you realize it's not appropriate or you want to integrate, you can use tags as well. And if you want to change, you go again to Edit Map, and you can play with the polygon and just adapt it to change it. If you like, you can switch on, okay, let me save that first. And if you like, you can switch on the satellite map, and this helps a lot to locate the project. It's probably loading now. Not working, why? Okay, I will solve this, but usually you should have the satellite map. You have also additional layer. Apparently it's not, yeah, they are appearing now. So these are in Italian. I'm sorry for that, because we just changed in the server the name of the layers. You have strada is road, insediamenti is settlement, this hatch gray, and UDS is land use, existing land use. So in this case, dark green is nature, light green agriculture, gray, settlement and roads. Okay. when you are done, you close and you will find your diagram here. And I see that many of you are already drawing, so it's fairly easy. I see this is mine, it's not saved. Something's going wrong with my computer. No, this is from scale. Basically, you create a diagram with the same name as mine, and but you basically didn't save your diagram. So you should go enter again, edit the map, draw again, save, and then you will see the diagram appearing.
So I'm drawing now and I hit, it's like my polygon is still active. How do I make it unactive? So I'm active right now.
Okay, if you save it, just refresh the page, reload the page, and it should be appearing.
Okay.
Now, what we want everybody to do is to make one diagram in any of these systems.
Start
If
with the
it's
polygon
a
project.
That's a project which is a solid color or a policy which is a dashed color. But we want everybody to make one diagram in any system. It could be a policy, it could be a project. I was asked, Michele,
Yeah.
I was asked in an email, can we overlay the evaluation maps? And the answer is yes. Would you demonstrate that? Would you demonstrate that in either the evaluation maps or in making a diagram? Just right there in that process. So for example, if we were dealing with green infrastructure, what would happen if we overlay water, agriculture, and green and water, agriculture, green, and culture?
I can see many of you are not saving or just
We're not
logging
saving
in.
the diagrams.
Okay, some are appearing. Basically, when you add a diagram, you create the cell, but then you have to save the design inside. Probably many of you are still working, so if you give me just 2 minutes, Carl, I will try to understand why the satellite
Okay,
image is not loading.
that's fine.
Actually, it is loading in the main project, so not a big deal. I will show you if you have a look now. I'm in the real project now. I already add some diagram to speed up things, and here I can load the satellite now.
Okay, that's good.
It's very easy at this point to modify your polygon following, but you don't have to be so precise. Just the diagram means I'm going to do this project here, more or less this location and this area. Any question?
Yes, I have a question, and this is related to the evaluation maps. How to remember the value of each color for each thematic map.
The darker the green, the better it is. Green means suitability. Red means existing, so existing and working well. So you don't need really to do anything there. Okay.
All right.
It's already okay. There is no need for transformation. And yellow means a problem in feasibility issues, either economic or risk or political or whatever. And the way you create the maps is basically you have to create your model and then to convert in a map. but for today, just take the map for granted. You don't know the area actually very well or at all. So just follow the simple rule. Even my student usually follow a simple rule. Just go to the green, possibly dark green. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And okay, just typical, of course, you are testing for the trying for the first time, just a trial and error. I can see here a diagram that is actually meaningless. First of all, the name is not meaningful. It's the name of the author, but it's not the name of the project. You should put here the name of the project. What is this line infrastructure here? So you should explain, saying what the project is. And probably here, just a test for drawing, you choose the author choose to just to draw a line. It's difficult to understand the meaning of this line here. Okay, so remember, when you create the diagram, be careful, pay attention whether it is a project or a policy, and if it is a project, whether it is a line or a polygon. Okay. And another thing you should know is that lines basically are not used for the impact calculation by the system.
They have to be
Bufferized.
buffered. They have to be buffered.
Yeah. And another rules that we usually adopt when you draw a diagram, just use one single polygon. Don't use compound diagrams, because these create issues both in terms of the geodesign workflow, but also in terms of post-processing of the data after the workshop. Okay, so avoid compound diagrams. Each diagram is either one line or one polygon. Is anybody having difficulties in drawing diagrams?
I'm unable to, I want to try this again. I keep on trying to edit mine and to draw a polygon, but it's
Do you
not
want to share
letting
your
me.
screen? Do you want to share your screen and show it?
Sure. So
Scanning?
can you guys
Okay.
see my screen here?
Yeah.
This, okay. So this would be me down here. And if I click on this
Okay,
edit map, and I
Okay.
want to, I'll do what we initially did and turn this on, zoom in and add a feature.
Yeah.
So I add this feature. Now, how do I become inactive?
Double click to
Oh, okay.
close.
Okay. Double click. Now I
And-
hit
And
save.
after you double click, change color is ready to be saved.
Okay. So I just hit save diagram.
Okay.
Okay.
Then go
We're
look at
good. Oh, I'm sorry.
Then go look to see if it's really there up in the list above you.
Oh, up here in here.
Yeah, look, scroll down. There's number 5.
Yes.
Is there? Yeah.
Right here. Number
That's
5.
it.
Yep. And then I can click on it and then further
did it.
edit. Okay. All right. Sweet. Thank
Now,
you. That
just a
was-
minute. Wait. Now, let everybody listen to what I'm about to say. The author of Agricultural 5 made this diagram. And let's say that I am not her. I'm not her, but I like her diagram. So I'm going to put Agriculture 5 into my design. And she now thinks she wants to change it. So what she has to do is make a new diagram because it's in my design as it was, and I like it.
Mhm.
So
So
what
I- I
you have to, whenever you edit somebody else's diagram, you can take somebody else's diagram and edit it. But each time it's edited, it becomes a new diagram with a new number so that it doesn't screw up somebody else's design.
Oh,
All right. So now everybody in the next 5 minutes, everybody take somebody's diagram, somebody else's diagram, and change it.
now do we hit copy and edit to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will show you on my screen. I like this diagram from Armin, and copy and edit, new name. Let me check the old name. What was it?
Printed house 10.
Printed house 10. Okay, copy and edit. Printed house 11 or 10B. You have the option to convert from project to policy. This is basically if you make a mistake. You originally create a project, but then you realize that could be a policy, you can convert it. And then just in that case, you rename as error the original one, and then you change it. Here it is. Now it's become mine. I can edit. Let me check if the satellite is working. I don't understand why in this project it doesn't work, but in the real project it will be working, the satellite. So I can edit the feature and make it mine. Okay.
And it becomes a new number.
If you do not put the name correctly, if you do not copy the original name and you give a number, random name, would the software going to be able to track if that polygon is actually created by X polygon and it's just a different version of it, or you want to make sure that you copied it?
No, in that case,
Actually-
you have to go back and then rename. You have to do manually.
But the reality is that the history of every diagram is tracked in the administrator's software, but not open to you. In other words, Rishi Balal knows exactly the genealogy of every diagram as it gets transformed.
Yeah, and
Got
when you
it.
download the data at the end, you can download the data, the whole database, and you will find track of the diagram, who was the author, when
Who
it
looked
was
at it, the complete history of the design is captured by the software. We've got doctoral students working on the history of designs as they develop through collaboration.
That's excellent. I love it.
Chiara Cocco did her PhD thesis on this, basically, developing an analytics to understand ex post what was happening during the workshop.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, is there anybody now who has not successfully made a diagram in the group? Has anybody not made a diagram? In that case, let's go to the next stage. Michele, bring us all into the real project. And I want to say some words before we begin.
I'm just copying on the chat box the new links, the new link. Just use it as you did for the entering the sandbox.
Michele,
Yeah.
when we get into the real project, would you please demonstrate boundaries
Yeah.
and also just scroll up a little bit more. That's it. That's it. And in the real project, quickly explore evaluations by zooming in on something but zoom in a little bit more. That's it. That's fine. That's fine.
And we have the satellite working here.
Yeah.
This helps a lot, of course.
Put on the roads overlay. That's it.
Ah, the roads, yeah, Strada.
The roads, strata. Those are the existing major road patterns. Put on the water pattern, please. Do we have aqua? Yes.
Fiumi, rivers,
Fiumi. Okay.
and water bodies.
And that's the water network, some of which is very important, especially in the Northwest area for protection. And now, what I want to be able to do in explore, I don't want it in the diagrams though. I want it in explore evaluations. Okay, then go to the boundaries, go back out of there. Yeah, exactly. Go to boundaries.
Okay.
Go to change boundaries.
Basically, by default, we see the whole area, but then there is boundary A. This is exactly the metropolitan area. Okay. While the evaluation map are a little bit larger, extend further. And then we have boundary Bs. In boundary Bs, we have the four
subzones.
Subzones, right? So you can go here, the full boundary B, and you can choose Cagliari. I don't know why it's duplicated. This is a bug, but you can find all of them: east, northwest, and southwest. So
go to southwest. Yeah, good.
Go to southwest, and everything is zoomed. What is happening here? Something wrong. This is strange.
That's very not. That's not.
I will write to Rishi and check this.
Yeah. Okay. What the software does is it lets you define sub-boundaries, and it limits then the active area to that geography. We've done lots of studies where we work with towns in a county or counties in a state, where each geography has its responsibility, and it's limited to a geographic sub-area. So you want these different interest groups to collaborate across geography zones. And so the boundaries lets you zoom in only on the area that you're responsible for when that becomes useful. In this case, we've got 4 teams responsible for a sub-area, but they actually have to make a design for the whole. And at any given time, they may need to negotiate with their neighbors. For example, on the ring road or on the conservation strategy. Because the ring road, if there is a ring road, or a metro, if there is a metro, can't be broken at the boundary. Okay, Michele?
Yeah.
If every team has now made a diagram, the next task, you have 1 hour. And in 1 hour, we need your first design. I will.
Sorry. Basically, the diagram were done just as a test in the sandbox. So in this project, just let me refresh. As you don't know the area, I start designing some meaningful diagrams that you can use later. But now you should create your own diagram.
Michele?
Yeah.
Remove all the yes.
The flags.
Yeah, remove all this, clear all. In other words, clear all. What your team needs to do is first of all, meet with your teammates. Each team is going to have a room, which Michele will assign to you. It'll be a private zone, which I can get into and Michele can get into. And if somebody needs to get into your team, they have to contact Michele and he'll let you into, so you can talk to them if you need to. The team has to decide what kind of diagrams you need, where they might end up being, and who's going to make them, whether they're policies or projects. Everybody's computer will have everybody's developing diagrams, which you also know how to edit. What you don't know yet is how to put them into a design. Michele, I'm going to make a design, okay?
Yeah.
I want water 1, 2, and 3.
And just select it, then by flagging the base.
I want agriculture 1. I want green 2. I don't want any energy. I want transportation 2. I want all of the industry. I want all of the institutions.
Are you a developer?
I'm a developer. I want all the housing. I want all the mixed housing. I don't want the culture. Show me the design.
Just scroll down and you see the design here.
And now I realize I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Do you see that this blue area? If you put your cursor on the blue area, I don't want to edit it. I want to remove it. And I see what it is. Wait. Go back to the design. If you put your cursor on the diagram, the label water 3, do you see the label water 3 below? Move your cursor to the label, which is below the design. Oh, you can't. Hover over it just below. You see the water 3. Then you can go up to the diagram, remove water 3. Now go back to the diagram and it's gone. So the process of putting things in or taking them out of the design is really only pressing a button. That's as simple as it is. So the real question now is, which diagrams with which requirements, for how much, in which location, and why do you want in your design for your geographic representation responsibility? And you have 1 hour to make your first design. And after that first design, we will assess the impacts of that design, compare the design, and make it possible for you to change your design. So this is an iterative process, and it's very fast. And what that means is your first design is not the final design. The fourth design will end up being the best design, more than likely. So it means making some decisions, following them, then seeing if they were smart decisions and seeing if they can be improved by other people's work plus your own. So it's not arguable, really. It's discussable, but it's not arguable. Any design could become a good design. And you've got 1 hour, and I will warn everybody when there are 10 minutes left. Now, Michele, first of all, are there any generic questions that people have? Is there any generic question that everybody needs to know?
Yes, I would like to know if we are working now at the sandbox or the final
You're now
project.
in the real project. You're now in the real project.
And also about the proposals, you can go down, please. Yes, those diagrams, they were drawn by all the people here?
No,
Or,
No, by
Ah.
me, by me.
by Michele.
You should add other meaningful diagram. The sandbox was just to learn how to do it, how to work with the interface. But now you should try to make some meaningful design.
Can I
Okay.
make a requirement? Can I make a requirement? Each of the 6 teams must, and I say the word must, make at least one diagram in each system. Because each team must have at least one diagram in each system in its final design.
okay.
How do we get within our team on the Geo Hub?
Everybody
And-
knows that's the next big task. That's the next task.
Yeah.
Everybody knows,
I have,
everybody knows
I
what
have-
team they're in, and I know what team they're in.
I have a question.
Can I ask one question before we continue to the diagrams?
Please.
And I think it was asked before in the chat, like, how do I delete an individual diagram if I've been drawing something wrong, or I've been putting it in the wrong category, for example? Can I just delete it? Is that possible? Or
No, you
Hey,
can't.
you can delete the polygon, but not the cell, right? If you created a water tree with his name and his polygon, you can delete the polygon if you want, for example, to change location rather than modifying manually. And you do by control click with the mouse. Should be that, I think control or shift click, and you delete all the figure, but then you don't delete the cell in the matrix. Okay.
The cell in the matrix stays. But the reality is that in a real project, you should be careful. And even if you decide you need to change it, somebody else may have it in their design and be very happy. That's why an edit, even an edit by the same author, becomes a new diagram. And you just, if it's a real disaster, you just have to warn people, stay away from that diagram in a chat.
In principle, the edit function is just if you make a mistake, you want immediately to correct. But after you save, is better to copy it for the reason Carl highlighted.
Yeah. It's one of these things that happens.
Yeah.
Michele, can you, if everybody knows that they're in a team, Michele, can you get?
We should say that now that we are all together, we should say another thing. Now I will make each team leader administrator of the team in GeoDesign Hub. So after that, the team leader will have a new object here in the interface that enable to invite the other members of the team. Okay, and you can do it yourself, your own, and I can help.
You do it with the email address,
Yeah, no, with the username.
with the username. Okay.
The username, and the team leader also down below, around here, will have a save version button. So at the end of the next hour, you will be asked to save, and the team leader will save the version. And what she or he will be saving is the combination of a selected diagram. So what you see here, right? And of course, this should be representative of the work of all the group. But when you work within a group, you have the possibility, here you see your selection. Below the matrix in the map, you see your own selection. On the right, you can scroll and look for your team leader partner. And if they already selected something, you can import their selection in your selection. Okay. Now, probably nobody selected yet. Maybe, Carl, we can show this at a later stage.
We can do that. We'll do that in 1 hour when everybody has a design.
Okay. Okay, so
So let me review very, very quickly.
Yeah.
You're not going to have much time. You need to have a conversation. You need to study and subdivide the task by system so that each member of the team has probably 2 systems. There are usually 5 people in a team. So each person probably needs to be responsible for 2 systems. They need to make a recommendation. They need to make a diagram for each of those systems, at least. Then the team has to synthesize by saying, we're going to take this into our design. That'll be about 10 minutes to 15 minutes or 10 minutes of discussion, knowing that it's not the final design. That's really important. So it's better to start thinking about the spatial structure of your system than arguing. And then when you start to see how it fits together, it becomes more interesting. And you can always experiment with other diagrams by pulling them into the design and throwing them out of the design. In other words, it's not ink and pencil. It's in and out, boop, 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 like that. And that process, the coordinator has to manage. The coordinator has to say, where's the transportation proposal? And the transportation proposal says it's here, giving each diagram has a name. It's called water 2, agriculture 9, transport 3. So the transformation of ideas is really fast because it has a name, it has a color, and it has a map. That's the design language. And what you're doing is making these quick ideas and then seeing what happens, judging it, and then we really judge it more after you've made the design, but you then change the design. That's important, that you're willing to change the design always. Not defend it, but change it. All right,
Okay,
Michele, let's get them into rooms.
yeah. Now I'm opening the rooms.
One question.
Rubens, please.
Peter
Rubens.
Something. How can I get out of the sandbox to the real project?
There is a little icon on the top right, like a head within a circle. If you go there, you should go back to your main account. And in your main account, you can find the new project.
No, it's not.
Did you copy the link? Did you use the link in the chat?
No, because I'm using 2 computers.
Ah, okay. So I can copy the link again. The link is exactly the same as the other, but the last 3 letters are capital B, capital Y, and capital A.
Can you put it in the chat so it's important?
Sure. So every one of you should know in which team she or he is. So we will use freedom with the breakout rooms. The breakout rooms are named as the team D, G, C, S, and E. So I'm opening now the breakout room. You are free to move in your own room. If anyone has trouble, I will move the people left in the main room myself, okay?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how to go into breakout rooms.
You should, when I open the rooms, you will see a blue pop-up on the bottom right.
Okay.
Just click there and choose your room. Danielle, you are in team D.
Okay.
Team D is developers, team G is Greens, team C is Cagliari, team S is Southwest, team N is Northwest, team E is East.
Okay.
And a very quick question. Have you already set up the team leaders on
I will do
Design
it
Hub, or
immediately
are you
afterwards.
going-
I will do it now.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Hello, I have a question. How can I go? Right now, I should leave the room meeting.
You should go to room
Uh,
S. S.
S. I don't know where I can get a room S.
Let me see if I can move yourself.
I have a question. I can see here that I see in team D developer, yeah.
Can you repeat, please?
Before I can see it for my team is D for developer, but I don't know if it's correct.
It is correct, Maria.
Okay,
I
okay.
moved you at the last minute. I moved you at the last minute into team D, developers.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
I'm still here. I should go to team S. I think.
I'm moving you manually.
Okay, okay.
And Andrea, you're the coordinator of team E. Cyrus, you're also in E.
Christina is N. Kanya.
Ahmed, you're in team S, Southwest.
Okay, everybody
Looks like that's good.
should be in the room.
Is Armin, where's Armin?
Armin.
Armin is E, team E.
Should be in here already.
Okay.
Not yet. Why? I cannot see Armin. Okay, I have to go.
I think he's gone now.
Yeah, but Armin is
In
E.
team E, East.
Okay. He entered by mistake in S. Okay, I'm moving him. Or her to S, please. Okay, just let me check the team leader. Developers and conductor. I cannot find Anna Ties. Borders. Okay. Green, Ebru. Cagliari, Deni. Sud, Lei. Northwest, Rubens. E, Andrea. Okay, now we send a message to everybody that.
Could you hold on a second? Michele,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into the Zoom in a second computer so that I can have one computer on Zoom and one computer on the site.
Okay.
And it's trying to connect.
Okay.
I opened the same site, so I'm actually,
I can see it now.
okay. So I want to be in two. I want to be in start video.
Yeah. But
Okay.
you should talk and use the video only in one computer.
Okay, I'm going to be. Okay. I'm gonna close the first one.
Okay.
And I'll close the mute.
Okay. I can now see your. I can see your chest, but not your face. Okay.
Actually, I think I've done this wrong. I'm gonna keep this one because it has a better camera.
And also better audio.
And I'll move this one to Zoom. Okay.
Carl, Andrea asked me, ask help. I'm going, or you want to go to team here? Or I can go.
I can go. How do I do it?
I will do it for you.
Okay.
And you should be able to go back to the main room if you like. Okay, which one are you now? You have two Carl Steins. No, okay. I'm moving to E, you to E.
Okay.
Rubens, are you having trouble?
Okay.
Rubens, are you having trouble?
Yes, I have a problem having to get into my circuit masks.
I cannot hear you very well. Carlo, did you leave?
No, I'm back. I'm back. They had a question. I answered the question. No problem.
Excellent.
The problem was, where's Bilge Kobak? And somebody said she was here, but I haven't seen her, and so she's not in the room. And
probably she left.
Probably she left. I need a minute to use the facilities. I'll be back in half a minute.
Okay, I'll stay here. Carl, I also need 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll stay.
Okay. Carlo, what Zoom doesn't allow yet is to offer you a coffee. Shall I have a round in the rooms to check everything?
Yes, I think so. I think so. I think you have to. And especially, Michele, especially on the question of whether the coordinators were able to get the link to their teammates.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, do that. I'll be here. I can answer all the chats if they come in as chats.
Okay, I will try to be quick.
Okay.
Okay. I think we have a nice group of people today.
Good, good.
So I was in southwestern Cagliari. I will move now to north.
Okay.
Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
Hello, Carl.
Hello.
Where can I join the breakout room? There's some connection problem.
Which team are you in?
I'm in team C.
You have to wait. Michele is back. There's Raghav.
Okay.
Yes.
Should go back to the team.
C.
C.
C. Okay.
Michael, even my internet was disconnected. Can you please connect me to team E?
E, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.